Well, hey, good Friday evening to you. How is everyone? I hope you're doing great. I'm doing all right. And who am I, you may ask? I, of course, am Bill Sylvie, aka the Dungeon Delver. It's good to see you all. Thanks for stopping by. Jax has finally made it here on a Friday in time. Vincent, sounds like good news about your group. Very glad to hear that. We like to hear about groups that grow and groups that are doing well. We like that a lot. So anyway, I'm your great big clump of anxiety cells, Bill Sylvie, still trying to get things in order for tomorrow's free RPG day. I mean, I have things in order. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying, I don't have anything done. I mean, I just got a few things to do, and it's just kind of weighing on me. I just want it to go well. It's the first event game that I've done since Kung Flu struck a while ago. I mean, although the guac seemed to go off pretty well, but there's a far cry between, an online convention and a not online convention. Well, I mean, this isn't a convention, but in terms of number of attendees, it'll probably top the guac, but that is what it is. Yes, Jack, I can. You didn't know that? That's why I have two monitors. One for you guys, and one for all the computer stuff. Put some pants on before you sit down to watch the show, Jack. Anyway, so yes, that is what's happening. That's what's going on, and I'm there for it. Tomorrow from noon until, I think we're going till 9:30 or 10. I'll have to check. That's all at Gods and Monsters down on International Drive. So even if you're just going to hover, and by the way, if you are going to hover, I want to see that because that's a pretty neat trick. If you come by in the evening, go back to the vault, 5421. Get yourself a cold drink. Enjoy it. As opposed to the times when you would get a cold drink and hate it. Beer. Anyway. Queen Elizabeth can see you through her portraits. At least that's what we told the kids to keep table manners up to snuff at our house. You have a portrait of Queen Elizabeth at your house? Why? I mean, you do you, but anyway, so that's what's going on. I ran around. I did some honeydews today. I finally, again, in the continuing saga of shit you can't see, I got more garbage off the floor, which makes me happy. And it is all now sitting up on shelves, mostly sitting up on shelves. And then I'll have something to tuck away in that corner and get it away from over here, which you guys could almost see. You guys could probably almost see if it wasn't for like the logo and this computer monitor. You could see this plastic bin I've got, but that will go in the corner over there. And then the entire area around my man cave table will be clear. And I can walk all the way around it. She's Queen of Canada. Oh, that's right. You guys have that quaint thing where you still genuflect to a crowned head in Europe. I do forget myself. What did we do about that? Because we started over. We did something where we don't have to do that anymore. But it's been a while since we've had to worry about. I don't know. You know what? We can come back to that some other time. Maybe in a month or so. Well, no, not even a month. You know what? Maybe in 10 days. 10 or 11 days. We can look at that. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway. I play a game set in a fantasy. That's right. I I think the criminally underrated Megamind has probably one of the best wrong-headed lines when the villain Titan, or Titan as he refers to himself, as in, like Titan a bolt. But he's talking down to a woman, trying that he's kidnapped, to try and disabuse her of her illusions of innocence and kindness in the world. And he says, it's just a fantasy. There is no tooth fairy. There is no Santa Claus. There is no Easter bunny, and there's no Queen of England. So Mobius says, can we not? That's a dicey topic up here. Oh, that's right. You're from the PRC, People's Republic of Canada, also. Well, then I will be a good host and demur from discussing that particular topic, even in jest. Even in jest. You see what a nice fellow that I am? Even if I'm not, as a game master goes, that nice. Robert Phillips says the Gamma States of America. But anyway, lest we linger too much on domestication topics and that sort of thing, because God knows I can't be domesticated. People have tried. It doesn't work. It just does not work. So what else is happening? Well, we've had a good week so far. We've talked about the S series. We had Kyle in when we talked about a lot of fun stuff. And I think next week now it's up to Dungeon Minister. He's sitting out there in the audience. If he says otherwise, we won't do it. But I believe next week we're going to have Dungeon Minister on. We're going to talk about mazes and monsters a la Canada. So that'll be fun. Whether it's next week or not, I don't know. It may be later in the month, but we will get there. I do not want to know about Bill, his domestication. Okay. We'll leave that one to the ages. But anyhow, next week, maybe. Okay, I don't want to put you in an awkward position. Which why would I have you? Why would I have you on the show if I didn't want to put you in an awkward position? The show is the actual televised definition of awkward position. I've been domesticated. I don't know. I mean, I do this show wearing clothes, so that's a step in the right direction. We're not sitting outside. Although I'm not a butler. But yeah, no, we've talked about the S series this week, and we've gotten into White Plume Mountain some. Good evening, Vincent. It's good to see you. We've gotten into White Plume Mountain, and we left off. Where were we last night in White Plume Mountain? I think we had just come to the frictionless room. And getting across it. And I told you guys how the one time when I played White Plume Mountain, yes, Check Your Head is a phenomenal album. Somebody stole my CD copy. I'll replace it someday. White Plume Mountain is the only game that stands out for me as I doodled it out at the time. 30 years later, the modern trend of gaming diaries is a good idea. But anyway, we talked about the frictionless room, and I talked about how our group overcame the frictionless room. There is something I wanted to show to you, and of course, I forgot to get it down off the shelf. I'm looking at it right now. I need to turn off that annoying light over there that's sort of making this big shiny white spot on the miniature shelf. I'm going to do that in a minute, and then I will get what I'm going to show to you guys when we get to the appropriate point. But let's continue with looking at White Plume Mountain. Oh, Windows wants to restart right now. How about no? So let's see that. Let's do that. Let's share screen, share screen, share screen, share screen. 5 button clicks. Boo! All right. If I was streaming on Facebook, I would be worried about getting a copyright strike for that. Anyway, 23. Always a fun one. And I'm going to show you guys, first of all, the illustration should give you what you need to know, but I will show you on the map. Because this, I mean, you know, the tilt-a-whirl thing, or not tilt-a-whirl, the rotating hallway thing, the platforms you got to jump across. And now we've got like a water flume ride in White Plume Mountain. There's a stream running through this room that is suspended in midair. It enters and leaves through 2 tunnels, each of which is about 6 feet in diameter. The lowest points of the tunnels where they come through the walls are about 2 feet from the floor. The stream only half fills the tunnels. Consequently, when it flows through the room, it is hemispherical in cross-section. See accompanying illustration for clarification. Objects can be thrust through the sides of the stream, but no water other than a few drops will escape. It would even be possible to walk right through the stream, but only a very strong person could do so without being swept off his feet. The stream flows quite quickly from the west to the east, and within it, blind cavefish dart about. It is lukewarm. Also in the room are 6 small 2-man kayaks with no paddles. Should anyone choose to go boating in the unknown tunnel, they will have to figure out how to get into the kayaks once the kayaks are in the stream 5 feet from the floor. The kayaks tip over easily. If they successfully board the kayaks, the party will bump along through a twisting tunnel. They can regulate their speed by pushing against the walls. Eventually, they will emerge into 24. So we have some real magical Disney stuff going on here. Now, I want to talk about this because sometimes this room drives me up the wall. Initially, when I first read this, it drove me up the wall. You can spoil a lot of fun in D&D by being a mechanic as a DM. And let me describe what the mechanic DM phenotype is. You look at something like this and you're like, okay, how is that supposed to work? Levitation to hold the water up, but it has a duration. Permanence doesn't work on levitation. But the water moves as through a stream, but it's got no... Don't nitpick and obsess over whether or not a particular thing in the game has perfect explicable mechanics. Caraptus is 1,300 years old. The guy can probably employ some pretty badass wish magic to get this going. I mean, if he just walked in there and let's say that stream is just flowing through the cave and he's like, I'm going to craft a wish to do exactly this. And raises the stream up and does, just don't even worry about what the explanation could be. If the party's like, oh, we're going to cast Dispel Magic and make it fall down, don't let it work. Let them waste their spells. But the stream in midair, and I love this guy. There's the perfect example of the mechanic DM or the player obsessing over. He's like, How's that working? Little cavefish swimming through it, and it makes a right angle turn. It just goes like that. So what's on the other side? First of all, let's look at the map. Let's scroll down and let's look at the map. So here's 23. Here's the inexplicable cave with the inexplicable stream that flows into the wall and can carry characters along to 24. Now, this would all be well and good. It would be just a fun diversion. But where does it go? What does it do? Where does it take a party? Well, let's find out. 24. 8 fighters under the command of the cruel Sir Bluto sans Pite or Pity. I am not sure. I think it's supposed to be Pity. Await here to ambush any who come through the tunnel. They will be alerted by the alteration in the flow of water as the party tampers with it upstream. The stream flows through the air in this room in the same manner as 23. Sir Bluto's men work in teams of 4, 2 on each side of the stream. As each kayak comes out, a team will throw a net over it and attempt to drag it out of the stream and down onto the floor. When it falls, they move in to finish off the hopefully stunned and trapped occupants with swords. The 8 henchmen are armor class 4 and have 20 hit points each, 4th level. And we got to thank the author there for giving us very simple numbers to work with. Sir Bluto himself was a respected knight of the realm before his indictment in the River of Blood mass murder case. So where you put that in Greyhawk is up to you. I like it, though. It's a little bit of flavoring. It's not just like, Sir Bluto's a bad guy. No, he's known. His mysterious disappearance from prison left even the royal magician detectives baffled, and a reward of 10,000 gold piece was posted for his capture. Someone in the party is sure to recognize his one-of-a-kind face. And then it gives all of his stuff. He's got boots of striding and springing, the magical key to the secret door, and so on. And it continues. The stream continues out of 24 and goes back to 23. This is just a knockdown fight. This is just a smash mouth, draw your weapons as soon as you come out of the cave, fight with a capital F. Greetings, Lord Corion. There's nothing to do here except for your party to survive. One kayak goes through. The yelling and everything should alert the people in the next kayak, if they're close enough behind it, of what all is going. But remember, it's 2 people only. And they get that net thrown over them and they get dragged out. So they are going to be, I don't want to say incapacitated, maybe treated as like, at -4 or something like that to armor class for a round while they try and struggle out of the net. So it's just a slobber knocker of a fight. And there's no trick here other than the cool stream. And again, don't be a mechanic of a DM and try to explain, try to figure this out. Just let it be a cool thing. So that's 24. 25. These 2 magical secret doors will reveal themselves and open only to the bearer of Sir Bluto's magic key. So you kill Bluto or you capture him and beat him up and take the key, and you can find the secret door out. 26. Ask you guys to hang on for just a second while I show you 26. All right, guys, hang on a second here. I'm going to describe 26 to you, and then I'm going to show you 26. As the side view shows, this large room is terraced around the outside in giant steps of 10-foot depth and width. Steps B, C, and D are enclosed by magically created glass. Magically created glass walls, which keeps the inhabitants of these terraces confined. For good measure, they have all been charmed and ordered to stay on their levels as long as their glass walls are intact. Steps B and D are filled to the brim with water. The only exits from the room are the doors on levels A and E. So if the party wants to continue onward, they must get safely to the bottom level. The door in the bottom opens into a corridor which passes under the rest of the room. And each terrace, of course, as said, has monsters in it. Step B, in this square pool of 6 giant crayfish. Step C, a dry level with 6 giant scorpions. Step D, another wet level with 4 sea lions. Not the kind you find at like a modern day SeaWorld, but these are half lion, half fish. Step E, 3 wing-clipped manticores. The manticores will not hesitate to fire their spikes at any they recognize as intruders, though they can only hit targets on step A by firing along the long axis of the room, and vice versa, of course, see diagram. The creatures in each level will be randomly distributed when the party enters, but as the intruders near each section of the monsters will move to follow, expecting to be fed. They are used to live food and will ignore dead meat or other food. They will consider anything living that enters their levels as food and will attempt to eat it. The glass walls cannot be broken by fired arrows, slung stones, or such things as thrown helmets. An 18 strength character could break a hole in one with 2 to 5 swings of a heavy mace, longer for less strong types. A safe is set in the wall opposite the door on level E. If opened incorrectly, i.e. trap not removed, a vibration device in the wall is triggered which will shatter the glass walls in 1 to 6 rounds. The safe contains 6,000 silver pieces and 1 piece of jewelry worth 3,000 gold pieces. If all of the glass walls are broken, a wall of force like the one at number 2 will activate immediately in front of the door on level E, preventing the water from forcing the door open and escaping into the corridor beyond. There will be enough water in the room to completely fill levels D and E and cover level C up to a depth of about 2 feet. The water will slowly drain out of 4 small drains in the corners of level E, but will take a good 20 turns to do so. Of course, parties who choose to wait will be subject to rolls from wandering monsters. Don't forget the wandering monsters. Once the water is finally gone, the wall of force will disappear. If the party manages to knock down the wall of force by using Dispel Magic, Disintegrate, or Pass Wall, the pressure of the water will push open the door and the water will rush into the corridor beyond, pulling any swimming characters and miscellaneous debris nearby. The water will collide with another modified wall of force covering the door at the end of the corridor, and then begin draining out through a large grating in the floor in the last 10 feet of the passage. The water will then take only 2 turns to drain out through this grating. When the water is gone, the last wall of force will dissipate. The water drains straight down through an old lava tube to a large empty cave with no other exits. A female manticore, a gynoticore, that's up to you, Robert. But let me show you guys this. I'm very proud of this. If you're having a hard time picturing this in your head, let me just show you what it looks like. Oh, and there's a lovely illustration of it. That's kind of nice. Kind of gives you an idea. You know, you come into the chamber. There's a couple of the manticores, the sea lions, the scorpions, the crayfish. But how many of you have got one of these? Let me show you. Stuff falling everywhere. Behold, I built this for tabletop purpose. But there it is in 28 millimeter, more or less, scale, with plexiglass walls and just some polystyrene. You can see it's not very heavy. But yes, indeed, I did build the menagerie, as we call it. Made the walls out of plexiglass. I'm pretty proud of it. I start trying to build it out of Dwarven Forge. I don't have enough Dwarven Forge, and I can't. I can't really afford it. And even if I 3D printed it and glued it all together, that would weigh about as much as an engine block. So yeah. I have the menagerie, and I 3D printed the miniatures. So, and I did buy some miniatures, so I can fill the thing, and I'm quite happy with it. It's one of the more artsy and craftsy things that I've done. So that's the menagerie area from White Plume Mountain. So assuming your party finds a way to get in there, you're going to get shot at by the manticores, and you could potentially go in and say, okay, we're going to fight the giant scorpions. Yes, the inverted ziggurat. You could fight the giant scorpions, potentially take them down, magic missile and so on and etc., and have a dry level between the two wet levels. And then figure out how to cope with the manticores. Down here, but you've still got this door. Now, up to this point, if your party is smart, they're detecting traps, and they're going to say, hey, that's safe. She's trapped. Jack Photon says, flip it over, put an RC car under it, and you have a canine robot for yourself. Yeah, if I like Doctor Who. But the party goes through the door. However they go through the door. And here they meet Kesnef. And who is Kesnef? Now, at this point, they fought the beast in the boiling bubble. They've crossed geysers double. And they've encountered the monsters in inverted ziggurat. But what's next? What happens next? A lovely piece by Bill Willingham, by the way. This rather impish looking halfling here, right down to his hairy toes. Whoops. Here resides Kesnef. Not, in fact, a halfling, but a huge ogre mage who lost a bet with Caraptus, and as a result must guard his treasure for 1,001 years. A magic mouth warns him of the approach of trespassers, so he will be able to disguise himself by polymorphing himself into the form of a doughty halfling warrior, perhaps one who has been trapped by the evil wizard. Kesnef, with all those stats, also wears a ring of protection +3 on his left hand and a ring of mirror images with 5 charges on his right hand. Black Razor, a chaotic neutral sword +3, intelligence 17, ego 16. Purpose, to suck souls. It is a black sword that shines like a piece of night sky filled with stars, and it is sheathed in a black scabbard decorated with pieces of cut obsidian. On a killing stroke, Black Razor temporarily adds the number of levels of the dead foe to its bearer's levels in terms of fighting ability. The bearer also temporarily gains the full hit points of the victim. All subsequent damage to the sword's wielder is removed from the added hit points first. The extra levels and hit points last a number of turns equal to the number of levels received. The souls of all entities killed by Black Razor are sucked out and devoured. Those killed by the Black Sword cannot be raised. For every 3 days the sword remains unfed, its ego increases by 1 point until it can compel its bearer to kill a human or humanoid being. Upon feeding, its ego returns to 16. The DM will note that Black Razor is a negative energy entity that exists by absorbing positive life energy levels from those it kills. However, if it even strikes a negative energy being, like an undead, except for ghouls and ghasts, it will work in reverse, transferring 1 life level and corresponding hit points from the wielder to the creature attacked. It will do this each time that it strikes. Under these conditions, the wielder can actually die and have his soul sucked out by his own sword. If the wielder survives, he will need a restoration spell or twice the usual number of levels received from positive kills to replace the lost levels. Those killed for replacement must be of the same race of the sword wielder. Black Razor and you, the DM, may very well keep this little drawback a secret until the first time the sword bites into a wight or vampire. I wonder why they're specifically mentioned. The DM must remember that Black Razor exists solely to feel power and souls coursing through itself, and sometimes it may not be too picky about where the energy is coming from. In addition to the above, the sword has the following powers: speech and telepathy, detects living creatures, souls, 60-foot radius, haste, bearer only 10 rounds once per day, 100% magic resistance to charm and fear, exact percentage chance of resisting will depend on the level of the opponent casting such a spell. And then there's some treasure down there. Our buddy went around slaughtering cows and chickens to semi-sate Black Razor. You know, I'm reminded of that great scene in Major League when Serrano demands a live chicken be sacrificed before the final game in the pennant race with the Yankees. And then he goes out. They bring him a bucket of KFC, 1 whole chicken, as Tom Berenger quips. Then they go out, and Serrano swings and strikes twice, and a guy in the dugout says, we should have gotten him a live chicken. So you're thinking, hey, we survived Kesnev, Satenmir, the giant crab. We got it made. Let's get the hell out of here. But wait. We're not done yet. Because you see, lovely illustration again by Willingham. Because you see, and now I gotta zoom in here. If a party should succeed in obtaining 2 or even 3 of the magical weapons and is finally leaving for good, they may be stopped at 2 by the return of the force wall. A voice will speak to them out of the air. Not thinking of leaving, are you? You've been so very entertaining. I just couldn't think of letting you go, especially with those little collector's items of mine. And since you've eliminated all of their guardians, why, you'll simply have to stay to take their places. I'll have to ask you to leave all of your ridiculous weapons behind and let Nix and Nox escort you to the indoctrination center. I'll be most disappointed if you cause me any trouble and Nix and Nox have to eliminate you. Don't worry. You'll like it here. The force wall disappears, but coming up the south passenger Nixon knocks to a freet with all the appropriate stats. If the party can get past them, they're home free. Of course, this whole episode can be omitted if the party has already taken too much damage. Conversely, if your players have had too easy a time of it, then this can be made tougher by the addition of 2 more free Box and Cox. If for some foolish reason the party decides to comply with Carapta's request and go with Nix and Nox to the Indoctrination Center, you'll just have to play it by ear. It's not too difficult. Use your imagination and make it up as you go. Just make sure that the party is extremely sorry that they ever decided to submit to Carapta's demands. They will probably end up as the brainwashed new guards in the White Plume Mountain dungeon. That is correct, Robert. There is no limit to how many levels and hit points can be added to the wielder, which make it all the more addictive. And there, of course, a lovely Errol Otis illustration. Designer Law Schick, editing and suggestions Mike Carr, Alan Hammock, Harold Johnson, Tim Jones, Jeff Leeson, Dave Sutherland, Gene Wells. Layout Mike Carr. Art Dave Sutherland, Errol Otis, Darlene Peekle, Jeff D, Dave S. LaForce, Davis. It's not David, it's listed as Davis. I think that's a typo. Jim Rosloff, and Bill Willingham. And I've expanded this out because, of course, on the other half of the page are the Kelpies, and I don't want to take I don't want to take too hard of a knock. Because male chest, okay. Female chest, no. And just for funsies, we'll read the Legend of Caraptas to round this module off. And of course, this means Monday we start our dive into S2 White Plume Mountain. And Luther Pendragon definitely wants to be here for that. You out there in the audience, Luther? The Legend of Caraptas. Well over a millennium ago, the wizard Caraptas rose to power in the valleys of the northern mountains, bringing the local warlords under his thumb with gruesome threats that were fulfilled just often enough to keep the leaders in line. Under Caraptas' overlordship, the influx of rapacious monsters and raids from the wild mountains decreased markedly, dwindled, and then almost stopped. Seeing this, the populace did not put up much resistance to paying Caraptas rather heavy taxes and tithes, especially when stories of what happened to those who balked were circulated. Those lords who protested disappeared in the night and were replaced by the next in line of succession, who was usually inclined to be more tractable than his predecessor. Gradually, as all dissension was stilled, the taxes and levies became even more burdensome, until eventually the wizard was taking a large piece of everything that was grown, made, or sold in the valleys, including the newborn young of livestock. Around this time, there began numerous reports in the land of sudden madness, demonic possessions, and sightings of apparitions and undead. Furthermore, monstrous incursions into the settled lands began to increase as raiding parties of humanoids burnt villages, and evil and fantastic monsters appeared from nowhere to prey upon the harried peasants. At the height of these outrages came Caraptas, tax collector, with word of a new levy. 1/3 of all newborn children were henceforth to be turned over to the wizard. As one, the people rose and destroyed the sorcerer's hierarchy and marched on his keep, where, led by a powerful and good cleric and his ranger acolytes, they destroyed Caraptas' minions. The great wizard barely managed to escape to the south, accompanied only by his personal bodyguard company of deranged and fanatical evil gnomes. Caraptas fled to the cities of the south and west, but wherever he went, his reputation preceded him, and he was unable to stay anywhere for long. Once again, retiring north, he came to the shores of the Lake of Unknown Depths, where he heard tales of a haunted White Plume Mountain. Investigating further, he at last found the refuge he was looking for in the tangled maze of volcanic tunnels beneath the cone. He and his gnomes vanished into the shadow of the plume, and humankind heard no more of the evil wizard. That was almost 1,300 years before the present day. Now, seemingly, the hand of Caraptus is once again interfering in human affairs. If it is in truth the ancient wizard at work here, can he be thwarted before his power grows once more? What is his purpose in this bizarre challenge to the world's heroes? There's only one way to find out. This perforated page is for player reference and can be removed if desired. And then, of course, we get the lovely little poem that he sends out when the items are stolen. Search ye far or search ye near, you'll find no trace of the three, unless you follow instructions clear, for the weapons abide with me. North past forest, farm, and furrow, you must go to the feathered mound. Then down away from the sun you'll burrow. Forget life, forget light, forget sound. To rescue wave, you must do battle with the beast in the boiling bubble. Crossed caverns vast where chain links rattle, lies whelm past waterspouts double. Black razor yet remains to be won underneath inverted ziggurat. That garnered, think not that you're done, for now you'll find you're caught. I care not, former owners brave, what heroes you seek to hire. Though mighty, I'll make each one my slave, or send him to the fire. And there's, of course, Caraptus' little personal logo there. And we have our map. The cutaway view, the ziggurat. And this lovely piece by Bill Willingham, which I've used as a thumbnail during some of my discussions here. Now, this is actually a detail piece. If you search around on the web for this illustration, you can find it. There are a gaggle of nude women clutching at Elric's legs here. And let's be honest, that's supposed to be Elric. White hair, yellowed eyes, you know. But yeah, TSR never actually published the whole piece. Probably a little too lurid for them. And considering the illustration of the Kelpies, even more so. And we get the typical ad copy. And that's it. That is it. That is White Plume Mountain S2. I think it's one of the most fun modules that TSR has ever put out. It was reprinted again. Well, the pastel version came out. As far as I'm aware, there is not a special tournament version, like a limited copy edition. But the pastel version was published first. Then the 4-color version. It was included in S1 to 4 Realms of Horror. There was a return to White Plume Mountain for 2nd edition, which I don't know if it encompassed the whole of the first one. But it's not good. I'm sorry, it's not good. It assumes that the volcano has been looted, that there's a fake Caraptus, and so many of the cool things in here are literally just destroyed. Like the stream room is just a flooded room now. Like the stream doesn't work anymore. It's not good. Deranged fanatical evil gnomes equal Darrow. Sure. And of course, it was, and I put that volume away, didn't I? Yes, I did. It was in Dungeons of Dread, that omnibus edition that I've showed you guys. And just in case you missed it, there's the cover art by Jeff D on the 4-color version. Oh, wait, you guys can't see that. So what do I think of S2? I personally think it is the second best of the S series. I really think it's phenomenal. I love all of the S modules, so it's hard to it's like which of your children is your favorite. But I happen to think that S2 is my second favorite. Now, because it's given an S4 designation or an S designation at all, S4 is my favorite, but I don't think it's fair to say that. Well, you know what? We'll get to S4 when we get to S4 because we still got to talk about S3. We've still got a deep dive into S3, and that's going to take a while. That is an awesome module. And I hope your takeaway from S3 is going to be, hey, I can run a science fiction game using the AD&D rules as a basis. So do consider that strongly, but we'll see it when we get there. So I do want to take a minute. Luther submitted and is in the menagerie. He's a crab. I do want to take a minute though, because I want to thank the folks who deserve thanks. So thank you to Joshua Garlock, Lord Corion, Ricky Maru, Mobius, Kevin Reynolds, Doomsword Deathmaster, Mark Simpson, Damien247, James F. Keck, William Smith, the Dungeon Minister, Manny Wall, Mark Corey, Kevin Wood, Todd Sharp, Carnivore Farmer, Rob knows I can't say that, Gillis, Jeremy Rule, Bo Ganora, Mikey Mank, Sky Hernstrom, Pete Sullivan, and John David. Guys, thank you all so much for literally helping to keep the lights on around here. Let me remove this. There we go. So that's S2. And it's a fun module. I like it quite a bit. Helping to pay for the material components. I could not have put it better myself. I could not have put it together myself. There is Gamma World. Just opening my Gamma World PDF, you see. Getting the Gamma World rules ready while we wait for folks to roll into the green room. So, in the time we have left, in the 10 minutes or so, anybody got any fun memories of S2? I always have fun running it. I always have fun playing it. I think part of my fun of running it now that I built it is this big menagerie. People are wowed when they see that come out. The Dwarven Forge wows them. That really, really wows them. And full stop. If you guys watch like Dungeon Crafter or Black Magic Dungeon Crafter or whatever it is, there are people who make so much better looking stuff for tabletop. I've never seen anyone create the menagerie. I went the extra mile. I made the plexiglass walls. That's got to count for something. I think it's pretty awesome. So I love setting that out on the table full of miniatures. And yes, I do have all the miniatures. I have scorpions. I have crayfish. I have sea lions. And I did I? Because it's been a couple of years. It was a couple of summers ago. It was summer of 2020 when for my corporate dungeon mastering business. That's right. If you go to guidekey.com, here, let me share that with you. Guidekey.com, I will run a D&D event for your company in person or over the internet. But Amazon was my first client, and I was hemming and hawing, and I was like, well, Should I do this? Maybe I shouldn't. I've got some polystyrene. I've got a Wonder Cutter. Maybe I could. Screw it. I'm going to do it. And I had plexiglass, so I started. I cut up the plexiglass. Didn't do a great job on the plexiglass, but one of the things that I did get at the time was, and they're actually over on the Shelf of Glory. I'm not going to reach over there and try and grope them and, bring them and knock stuff over, though, is Reaper makes sea lion miniatures. Again, half fish, half lion. And they also make, or not Reaper. Well, maybe Reaper did make Manticores, but I didn't get them at the time. But I just got the Reaper bones, and then I got WizKids. They make the minis for D&D now. The unpainted primed minis for Reaper for D&D. And I got some of those, and I slot painted them all. Maybe it took me like a total of an hour. The Kelpies, I got plastic Kelpies from Reaper also. But the crayfish and the scorpions, I 3D printed on my PLA printer. Milo over in the green room said, don't care much for the Bones plastic minis. They're nice and all, but yeah, I mean, the Bones minis are nice, but they're for a handful of things. Like, I need a bunch of orcs. I just need a bunch of orcs, and I'll grab a handful and, just throw them out on the table. Jack again saying, White Plume is the only game I ever documented as a player, sketching scenes as we went along. Another character kept a list of all PCs and NPCs he adventured with, but that is all the notes I have from them. That's very cool. That's very cool. 30 years back. Yeah, it's kind of funny how with White Plume, I didn't touch on that module until I started playing D&D again. I mean, I knew it existed, but no DMs ever ran it when I played in their campaigns back in the day. So getting a crack at White Plume Mountain, again, when I first picked it up, I was like, ugh, no wonder I didn't play this. But the more I read it, the more I was like, no, just let your hair down. Have fun. Enjoy this. And I did, and I'm glad I did. You sent me some low-res copies of pics, but I have not seen those, Jack. I mean, did you send them just tonight? Or was it a while ago? I want to know. Inquiring minds. Jack says it was so it was last week. I'll have to look. It might have gone into the big bucket, Jack. I'll have to dig around. Now I'm curious. Let's see. Messages. Oh, important reminder, because we are in the summer hours. Remember to drink lots of water and stay indoors between 11 a.m. and November 2nd. So let's see. My co-host sending me Twitter links like 15 minutes ago. I'm streaming, Kyle. Thank you very much. More? Maybe it's... If you sent it last week... Okay, I think I found some stuff, but I'll have to go through it later. White plume portraits. Let me see. Oh, there we are. Yeah, thanks for nothing, you Gmail. All right, I've downloaded. I'll check those out. Do you want me to share them with folks? Oh, they're RAR. It's downloading them as RAR. I don't know if I have an unRAR on this machine. I don't. You know what? Before we start S3, we'll share them. We will share them. So yeah, I'll get WinRAR on this machine, and then I'll unpack them and we'll do them before. Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's just we're like 2.5 minutes out, and I want a chance to savor them anyway. So it'll be a nice bridge over to S3, and that's something. By the way, if you're new to AD&D, if you are new to AD&D, you might think, well, okay, so you start with Tomb of Horrors, and then there's Clues that Lead Your Party to White Plume Mountain, and then to Expedition to the Barrier Peaks, and then to Lost Caverns of Sochconth. Is that how that works? No, they are not like the A series or the G series, or even B1 and B2. They just share a code in that they're special modules, not linked, just meant to be special challenges. But you don't play them in succession. I mean, if you were going to play them in succession, I would say you would start with a mid-high level party in White Plume, then play Lost Caverns, and then it's kind of a toss-up between Tomb of Horrors or Expedition to the Barrier Peaks. I would almost say you'd send a party into Expedition to the Barrier Peaks. But what the linking mechanism would be, I could not fathom it. I mean, kind of White Plume and Tomb of Horrors. I mean, maybe a Sararak and Caraptus were wizardly rivals with each other. Possibly throw S4 into that mix as well. But S3 is just out there. So just fairly warned, BE, says I, if you're looking for a tying in theme, there's not one. And you got robots, you got a downed spaceship, blaster guns, disintegration rays. 2 trap-filled dungeons. One is a funhouse dungeon. The other is just a maze of absolute, it's right there in the title, horror. It's a terrifying underground haunted house. It should scare the piss out of your characters. And then S4 is a big chunk of Greyhawk lore and a quote-unquote proper dungeon. But we'll see it when we get there. But for now, speaking of getting there, let us welcome in. We're a man or two down tonight on the Gamma World stream, but that's okay. We can have fun for a little while. So please welcome in Mobius, Yang, and Doomsword. Good evening, gentlemen.
Hi.
How are you guys doing?
So far, so good.
Excellent.
So what?
Excellent.
That's miserable.
Less miserable. That was a big that was a big play all the college kids were into back in the early 90s, isn't it? Less miserable.
That's how I thought it was.
Sold a lot of copies of that soundtrack. Yes, we did. All right. So the part of Gurg will be played by this inert piece of plastic here on the table, which would have been a lot funnier if I could have picked it up. As James is off celebrating his wedding anniversary, 19 years of bliss. Wow. Congratulations to you and the honey, James. So Gurg will be strangely silent as you continue to explore the wastelands. When last we left the party, you had been sort of negotiating, as it were, between the Orlan and their town/city of New Hope and Goodwater about kind of bridging the two communities, perhaps even merging the two communities, just literally picking up and bringing the people of Goodwater and Outpost 76 to all live together and begin to rebuild a city that could touch on some of the grandiosity and grandeur of the hello, Mark Corey, of the ancients before the war. But it seems that you were a little reluctant to engage in that, gentlemen. So what are your intentions now?
Yeah, we're a tad suspicious. We think some mind control is going on.
Oh, weren't we going to head back and check with Steve, see if he changed his mind?
Yeah, maybe if he's outside the influence of the Orlan, maybe he'll come to his senses.
Outside influence? My goodness, guys. So troubled by this you are. Just the Orlan being friendly. So you have taken you have returned the Orlan to their city. Thought you might have a passenger back to Goodwater, but then he changed his mind there at the end and decided not to journey with you. So you're flying back to Goodwater, yes?
I think so.
Okay.
I'm just along for the ride.
Okay. Well, Gurg looks at you all and nods sagely and says, Gurg.
Gurg.
Couldn't have said it better.
And it's a bit of a bumpy takeoff, but he gets you into the air and you rocket back towards the farming community of Goodwater. And Gurg essentially communicates to you that he says, hey, we've never really seen what this thing can do. But it's supposed to be able to fly in space. Do you guys want to take it for a spin in space also?
Do you have to ask? Let's go.
Okay, so Gurg now understanding how to do this, flips a couple of switches, pulls a couple of levers. It stands itself on its tail. Fortunately, you are all strapped in, yes?
Oh, I did that for sure.
Rex, are you in your armor?
I really hope so now.
I am in my armor.
Okay.
Which I'm sure has hooks. Place to hook yourself in.
Well, yes. I mean, the armor you strap in and strap on, but yeah. So Gurg stands this thing on its tail, Rex immediately plummets down the center aisle between the two chairs and smashes against the back of the inner bulkhead. Let's see.
Depressurize the cabin.
Yeah. Boom. Oh, yeah. So there's sparks and arcs and crashes. Gerg has already rocketed the throttle forward, but the cabin is filled with the acrid odor of circuits and whatnot. And Gerg cries out, "Gerg!" as you fly up out of the atmosphere.
I smell burning.
You guys are strapped in, and your seats are basically wrapped around you. And to stop you from losing consciousness, they're basically working like high pressure G suits. You have impact resistant shock absorption, things very like that in your suit. Soon the blue skies of Gamma World give way, and you are in the big black. You are out in orbit. Up, and beyond.
Whoa.
Wow. Everything turned to night.
Some lights come on in the cabin. There is some distressing hooting and buzzing and other alarms coming from Gerg's panel. And he is rapidly flipping switches. Gerg! In an attempt to get things under control from Rex slamming backwards into the back bulkhead and doing some damage.
Hey, those
I'm okay, guys.
That Gerg just pauses for a minute and turns and looks at you and just has this expression of absolute disgust, and then goes back to his attempts to bring the ship under control. So does somebody wish to roll for Gerg, or do you wish your old dungeon master or a referee to make those rolls?
No.
All right. Remember, Gerg is dual brained, so he gets 2 rolls. So somebody start rolling.
Anybody got dice handy?
We're looking for a D10 roll.
All right, I'll hit it. Oh, you got it.
I got a 5.
You got a 5. Okay, so the bucking and thrashing at least stops, and you guys now feel like there is a slight gravitic tug towards your feet. So some internal anti-gravity has been activated, and there's that at least. Give me another roll.
1.
Oh, wow. Okay. So the bucking and twisting and corkscrewing has come to a stop.
I'll look back at the guys. That's good.
Yeah.
Quiet.
Well, Gerg looks back at the guys. Give me another one.
5.
Okay, he's got it. It's still flying outward and upward. Occasionally in the distance, you think, as you're kind of looking around, as Gerg is fighting his lonely battle at the controls, you think you see the sun glinting off of city-sized, twisted, blasted, tumbling chunks of metal outside, perhaps flying ships of the ancients. You're not sure.
Come on, Gerg. You gotta get this under control.
Gerg!
Another roll?
Sure.
4.
It's much the same. Rex, you kind of now there's actually gravity, so you can stand up in your power armor.
Mhm.
If you shut your power armor off, you weigh about as much as you normally do without armor, just because the anti-gravity on this thing, or the gravity field on this thing for crew comfort is not that good. So what do you wish to do?
I'm gonna turn towards Gerg and say, "Do you need a hand there, buddy?"
Gerg only has the one word, but he says it in a way that lets you know that it is probably meant in a very obscene and derogatory manner at you. You're as soon as you stand up, though, when you say that, an alarm starts going off, and Gerg immediately turns his attention back to the panel. Those of you in the passenger bay, which of course would be Rex, Maddox, and Milo, hear two things. You hear a hissing sound and the alarms, of course.
Can I find the source of the hissing?
It's coming from right behind you, where your armor impacted the back bulkhead, in fact.
Okay. Can I see any openings?
There's a couple of cracks. There random scraps of straw, just straw and dry grass and stuff, are blowing towards them in the eddies and air currents in the thing. Give me another roll for Gerg, please.
1.
Okay. Gerg punches a couple of buttons on the console and turns around and says to you, he says Gerg, and telepathically thinks at you. Look in the side bulkhead. There should be a light over a box. Look at what is in the box.
I yell back to one of my companions. I'm like, "There's a light in the box."
And sure enough, there is some kind of storage cubicle that is illuminated now.
I'll go check it out.
Okay.
What's in the box?
So the box is filled with what look like sheets of cloth and a shining white cylinder with a rounded silver top. And give me a dexterity check, please. Roll d20, and you want less in your dexterity.
I got a 1.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So you've got a tight hold, a very tight hold on that piece of paper, despite the air currents and eddies blowing past you. There is a complicated series of instructions on how this can be used to make a hole in the bubble car not be a hole. It's basically spray some stuff on one side of the patch, stick the patch, spray some stuff on the other, stick another patch on top of it as needed.
Does that look understandable? I mean, is it something that I feel like I could follow the instructions on?
You'll need to go to the simple chart A to make sure that you're using the spray and stuff right. But yeah, you think you can follow it.
All right, guys, I got this.
Okay. Mobius, give me another roll for Gerg.
8.
Okay. The acceleration not only continues, it increases. Like, you're looking at Earth behind you. It is now starting to get even smaller as you're flying away. You think you're going full. You must be going full throttle. There is a keening sound coming from deep within the guts of this thing. So
This thing under control. We're going to the moon, boys.
Doomsword, let's roll for Maddox. Give me a roll to try and apply that patch.
This will be a series of D10s.
Yes, sir.
Ooh, 9.
Yeah, you're holding the cylinder in your hand, like, go stuff happen, make stuff happen, and it's not. There is a strong it's not coming from the can, but where you're at, there's like a hot plasticky smell. Gerg is still fighting with the controls. What is Milo actually doing? I know he's not controlling the ship. You're just rolling for Gerg, but what is Milo doing?
Looking around for life pods.
Yeah, no. What is Rex Dashington doing?
Rex is probably going to attempt to cover some of those cracks with, whatever he can. If there's some cloth or rubber or his hands or whatever he's got, until Maddox can figure out how to fix them. And he's also thinking to himself, I sure am glad I didn't take this suit off.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, air is leaking out, but whatever power plant of the ancients is driving this thing, it's not. None of you are getting dizzy yet. Give me another dice roll for Gerg, please.
6.
Let's see. Okay, so
now with
your
these mutations, does he have like a negative to this roll, or should I be rolling 2 dice at once?
No, it's a -1.
Okay.
So, but even still, that puts you in the same place.
Going to the moon.
You're staying at the same speed, but you're not accelerating anymore.
Starting to panic.
All right, Maddox, give me another D10 roll.
All right. A 7.
Yeah, it's still not happening. You're over there, Rex. Maddox is basically squatting in front of the back of your suit-sized dent in the bulkhead that has a jagged crack down the middle that you think is where the venting is coming from. Let me see. So you're using your hands or whatever. There's no loose stuff in the car unless you want to grab Maddox and shove him into the crack.
Tempting.
Seems reasonable.
But you can give me a D10 roll. Make it a real good one.
Nine.
Yeah, you have no idea. You're standing over Maddox. Fix it, fix it, fix it, fix it.
That's the opposite of a good one.
Okay. Maddox, go ahead and roll.
All right, I got this time. A 3.
Okay, you're like, oh, wait, pop. And you pop the end off the cylinder, and there's now a little button of some white bone-like material with a black dot in the middle of it.
I guess I opened it.
Yes. Let's see. Milo, give me another D10 roll for good old Gerg.
Oh, here we go. 5. Son of a.
Okay. He's still poring over the instrument panel. He's checking things. He's kind of starting to slow down a little bit. Gerg is his little extremities are starting to tingle, and he's starting to see like a little bit of frost forming on his fur tufts there.
I look back to Rex. I'm just looking back and forth between the two.
Okay. Okay.
He's the only one.
Maddox, give me a D10 roll.
All right, I think I got it figured out now. Hang tight. Oh, a 1.
Okay, yeah, you've got the adhesive on the patch, and the first patch is in place, and the high-pitched whistling sound is now greatly diminished. There's just a faint noise. Give me one more roll, and I'm going to give you a -2 on it.
All right, let's see what happens. The total will be 3.
Yeah, so you figured out how to apply patches and so on, and you stop it. And other than the strong smell of 160-some-year-old adhesive filling the cabin, the air recirculation system is working hard to filter that out. And you think you've finally gotten things under control now.
Excellent job, Maddox.
Pure luck, I tell you.
Okay.
Good thing you were here.
Give me another roll for Gerg, please.
I
Milo?
rolled a 2.
You rolled a 2. Okay. Oh wait, were you trying to do something with the patch also?
No, I was rolling for Gerg.
Oh,
Milo said he'll be right back.
Oh, I missed that. I'm so sorry. Sorry to Milo and our audience. I missed that. Okay, so Gerg is able to stabilize the environment controls, gets everything, the air scrubber, and your ship is now fully operational and under control again. You think? Let me see.
Were there any spacesuits in this ship?
No.
Okay.
There are not. So let's see. All right, here we go. Okay. So you guys have been flying along for about. Well, let me ask you this: crisis averted. You shut off the alarms. Gerg has the ship back under his control. What do you guys want to do?
Hey, you see that twinkly over there? Let's go that way. It can't be too far.
Maybe we should check out the moon first.
Second start of the left and straight on to morning. But yes, the moon is up there in the sky.
Can we see the Earth from here?
Yeah. I mean, Newtonian physics and everything. Gerg has accelerated you up to Mach 25, so he's able to just bump the yaw controls there and turns it slightly. And there is a view as far as no living human has seen since before the war. There are
marble.
Yeah, there are, like I said, glittering belts of debris from probably the day the war happened. Some of them are as big as entire villages drifting by in frozen silence.
Salvage some of the space junk. I'm sure there's some good stuff in there.
For sure.
And of course, now as Gerg has rolled it so that the bubble top of the canopy has Earth fully in view. Basically, Earth is now above you. The moon is below you, if that makes sense.
Do we see any lights on the surface, like any city areas lit up?
You've been in orbit long enough and fast enough that you're coming across the Terminator. That is the day and light division. Maybe you think it could be your eyes playing tricks on you, but as you fall into the shadow of the Earth, you think you might see a faint glimmer here and there.
It could have been a volcano.
That would be pretty cool too. Can I tell generally, like, what continent more or less these things are on?
Give me an intelligence roll, because Rex might vaguely remember these things.
All right, so that's a D20, right?
It's a D20, your intelligence or less.
Ah, crap. That's a 19. Which is higher than my intelligence.
Yeah, no, you're just oohing and eyeing. So, yeah, it's just you're over a blue ocean that has that line going through it, from daylight to night. And you think now you're over some land masses, but you can't really tell. There might be faint twinkling down there.
I don't know about you guys, but I kind of want to go back. That's where I keep all my stuff.
Well, this is honestly crap. I thought this guy knew how to fly this thing.
Well, it's a learning curve like everything else.
Ha!
He does drive all our vehicles, though.
Oh, lucky us.
Gerg thinks real hard at you. I can fly it just fine.
Thank you very much.
It's just when you guys, particularly some Claude and power armor, aren't strapped down, and then you say hit it. Whose fault is that? It's not mine.
It's the guy in the power armor.
Gerg. And he goes back to twiddling the controls.
Well,
Always passing the buck.
do we want to stop at the moon or just
Well,
head
yeah,
back?
we're up here.
I mean, we could get some of that moon cheese.
How do we stop?
I think Gerg knows how to stop.
But we thought he knew how to leave too.
He's got a point.
I'll make sure to strap my suit into a bulkhead before we attempt that.
Yeah, you've got there's cargo straps that can strap your suit down.
I can strap you down if you like.
This is a family show now. Okay. So nobody telling Gerg to do otherwise. He is going to set the controls for the heart of the... No, not for the heart of the sun. He is going to set the controls for the moon. And eventually he hops off the little slightly raised platform that the two control consoles are on. And comes back and just kind of exhaustedly says, Gerg, and slumps down in a seat, digs into like his little pouch and starts eating a piece of fruit, chewing it thoughtfully and literally watching the stars go by.
I'd beat him up if he had freaking candy bananas.
He does not have candy bananas. Sorry.
Well, I guess we're taking a flyby of the moon at the very least. Somebody else want to make the roll? My dice wasn't that great.
I'll roll whatever.
Some hours go by,
Oof.
and the moon is looming larger and larger and larger. Gerg periodically gets up and goes up and checks the controls, and he went through the whole tree there for space flight. That's what you were doing in addition to getting the atmosphere under control. But yeah, he periodically goes up and makes sure that you aren't just gonna fly into the surface of the moon. So you're just slowly cruising along through the black void. Anyone doing anything? You can fold one of the seats down to sleep on. If you have any food, you can eat it. Unless anybody wants 160-some-year-old rations, you can take a route around and try and find survival rations on the ship.
Well, I'm staring at the moon. At our trajectory, can we see both sides of the moon, the dark side and the light side?
No, you're just looking at the light side of the moon.
All right, well, let's park there.
Rex, for the moment, is going to get out of his suit and figure out the best way to jerry rig some, like a seatbelt strap thing for it.
No, there's cargo tie downs and straps and that sort of thing. That's easy. Now that you know where they're at. So yeah, most of a day passes. The plasticky smell is completely gone now. The one thing that the bubble car does generate, and you're not sure how, this is ancient magical technology, is Gerg has figured out that along the bulkhead, halfway up the passenger side, is actually a place where cold, clear, fresh water comes out.
Nice.
And again, you're not sure how that works.
Did we say if there was a toilet in this thing?
Yeah. There's a place.
All right, and Rex will drink.
Alrighty.
Dress you up, can't take it anywhere.
So the hours while on, Gerg periodically checking the controls. You guys are just kind of playing with the ashtrays, staring out the windows. It's all inspiring. You never thought this could possibly happen. When suddenly, over the otherwise silent electronics of the ship, there's a burst of static and a voice speaking. Attention, flyer number, and it rattles off a string of alphanumerics. Please confirm your landing pattern or submit to lunar control for automatic landing system.
Who said that?
Gerg, you
Is
can
that
talk.
alphanumeric number, assuming I can remember it? Does it appear anywhere in the cabin here on the walls or anything like that?
No, you don't see it anywhere. Gerg jumps up and runs over to the controls. Somebody want to give me a D10 roll for Gerg?
I'm just looking around like, who said that?
There is no response from the walls.
A 5 for Gerg.
Okay. Gerg leans forward and pushes a button and kind of nervously says, Gerg. There's a pleasant gonging sound, and the same voice says, your previous response was not understood. Please repeat.
Somebody talk to this thing quick.
Gerg like gestures at you guys, like motions you. Gerg.
So I will ask Gerg. Gerg, what's a landing pattern?
Gerg.
Should we let them automatically fly the ship?
Sounded like they were going to do something in that case.
Looks back at Milo and Maddox and up at you. Gerg.
I just shrug my shoulders. Yeah.
Okay, so let's see.
I like a Gerg. You got this, buddy?
Gerg. So he turns a couple of control levers, slides a couple into place. The voice comes back on and says, we have not received a filed landing pattern notification from your vessel. It doesn't and that's the game master. Therefore, you will be automatically guided to landing bay 327.
I speak out. Is that good?
I cross my fingers.
Our pilot's having trouble talking.
Gerg holds the audio channel open when you say that. The voice comes back and says, pilot distress or emergency noted.
Thanks.
A crisis response team will be on site at your landing bay.
Fantastic.
Please
okay.
present entry documents. And you slowly now the silvery white, the magnificent desolation of the surface of the moon. It just looks like a chalky, pumicey white desert. It looks like ash, which you've seen lots of back on Earth, looming up, and the walls of a crater rise up around you. And as you slip in a shadow, you see what you thought were jagged peaks and ridges are in fact the metallic outline of what can only be described as a city of the ancients.
Wow.
And irising open in the floor of the crater.
Intact?
Intact. And there are winking red lights on some of the taller structures. Irising open on the floor of the crater is some kind of opening for a platform that rises up to meet the bottom of your bubble car. There is a faint thump, and you see what can only be described as giant metal fingers that slowly fold over the top of your bubble car and lock in place, and it begins to lower down.
Suppose we'll see if the crisis response team.
The daylight is shut out as the hatch iris is shut above you. The opening iris is shut above you.
Look at Rex. Time for the suit.
So Rex will jump back in the suit and turn
Okay.
on the
I unhook the
exterior lights.
straps.
Don't break anything this time.
I'll do my best. Is there any way to know if the outside is safe based on the car? Is there like any indicators like it's safe to depressurize or safe to open the door?
Yeah, actually, there's lights. They're in two rows. There's a red light that is currently on, And as you're watching it, as your ship sits there for a few minutes, it goes to yellow and then to green. And perhaps 100 meters distant in the darkness, you see light flooding out of a door that is just open, and you see silhouetted faintly against it a group of, well, actually, no, there is something is moving towards you. You can't make out the details at this distance. Although, Rex, you do have your suit with its magnification, so if you want to zoom in, you can.
I certainly do.
Okay. There is a small vehicle with a broad... this looks very like one of the carts inside the base of the Ancients.
Okay. Does
Except
it look like one of the killer robots?
It does not.
Okay.
There are individuals sitting on it. One is sitting in what you think must be the driving position, and it is slowly rolling your way, and they all seem to have some kind of light. You're not sure if it's armor or some kind of suit that protects against the elements or what, but it's rolling. It's rolling your way, and the lights are green, and Gerg motions with his little thumb towards the hatch. Gerg.
Guys, I think I'm going to go out and greet the Ancients.
I'll be behind you.
So I will, I guess, turn the wheel that opens the hatch.
Okay. There's not even a pop or a hiss. It just swings right open. The rest of you are not sucked out into hard vacuum, so that's a good thing.
So Rex will walk out and have his exterior lights and sort of point it towards that little car that's coming. Wave at them and say, "Hello, people of the Ancients. I am Rex Dashington, and my companions and I are representatives of Goodwater."
All right. Well, the cart's still about 50 meters away. So they're, that forced perspective of your zoom in, you're like, oh, wait, no, they're going to be a few minutes. But it does roll up fairly quickly. The figure that is in the front of the car steps off. Whatever kind of clothing it's got, it's form-fitting. So it's probably a human female given the height and so on. She pulls off the helmet that she's wearing. She's holding in one hand a white case of some kind, and it's got a red cross in the middle of it. But she removes her helmet with one hand. She looks exactly like the android that you found in the base back on Earth. Exactly, precisely. She smiles pleasantly, sort of looks around you, sets the case down, turns, looks at the others in the cart, turns, looks back at you, and picks up a blaster rifle of some kind off the cart and says, "Those are not humans. They must be exterminated."
Wait.
Roll initiative.
I'm a human. Oh,
Crap. Knights of genetic purity. Again. 1.
Okay, you have 4 shots. There's 4 of you, so there's 4 shots coming in. They raise their weapons in chilling uniformity and begin to shoot at you all. Rex is in his armor, so of course they'll have to potentially overcome. What is Rex's armor class in that thing? -2, I think.
Well, it's an AC of 2.
Oh, it is an AC of 2. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we could say it's -2.
No,
but
we won't.
an AC of 2, but he gets the first it nullifies the first 20 points of damage.
Correct.
They're shaking Gurg. Get us out of here.
Gurg's looking around like to dive for cover. You know, he's standing at the foot of the stairs there just outside the ship, and he's in run, fight, hide mode. So the first shot is going to be at Gurg. 9, let's see. Yeah, so the air cracks with a beam of energy that prangs off something in the distance, does not hit. This shot is at Milo. Milo's wearing some kind of armor, isn't he? What is
it? Well, he had plastic, and then he got the what was that? Partial.
Yeah, it's like it's like just it's like one step below powered armor.
I had that though.
It's pretty durable. It's let me see here. Armor class table. So you have powered plate is what you have. It's armor class.
Powered
so your
armor.
Your armor class 3, that is a 14. All right, yeah, so that's a miss. Next shot is at Maddox.
AC3.
AC3, okay. Yeah, that was danger close. Like you feel your skin like tingle with that beam. And there's another shot at Gurg. That's just boils away a little bit of the metal in front of him. Gurg is backing up. Gurg! The one that her face is impassively pleasant as they're blasting away at you, and above the crack of weapons, she just calls out distressingly pleasant. Please don't resist. An instant painless death will be administered to you. We do not wish to injure. We do not wish to cause you physical distress. Please remain still so that we can euthanize you.
I step out from behind Rex and blast him with my laser rifle.
All right, roll it.
That's a 19.
A 19. That is more than sufficient.
That's 66, I do believe.
Yes.
10 plus 19.
Yeah, so you blast a hole. She kind of recoils slightly. There's, milky white android fluid leaking out of her. And again, she calls out, we have no wish to cause physical distress or pain. Please remain still so that you may be euthanized. You are not human.
All I've got is a spear. I'd like to run back into the cabin and see if there's a weapon I might use.
Okay. Party, are there any weapons that he might use in the cabin?
Well, we got 2 rifles.
Okay. Gurg has a laser rifle and a laser pistol and looks at Maddox and throws him the pistol and says, Gurg, 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 Gurg. And he's like thinking at you and his little weird animalistic thoughts, and you're kind of like getting an image of how to make this ancient thing work. So give me a D10 roll. We'll make it really simple for you. Because Gurg is helping.
10.
Yeah, Gurg is like, Gurg. So you're fumbling with that. Rex, take your shot. Are you shooting at her or one of her 3 assistants?
Can I see if the other 3 assistants are human or other robots?
They are wearing suits. They have not removed their helmets.
I will shoot at her then.
Okay, take your shot.
6.
Yeah, it just whizzes past her. So yeah, they have their weapons out and they're approaching you very calmly.
And they're all wearing helmets except for the one girl?
Except for the one girl, yes. Please stop resisting. You must be euthanized. You are not humans.
I am a man, damn it.
All right. Roll initiative, because I know what they're going to do.
Start blasting.
What'd you get?
Somebody roll it? No? 2.
All right. They go first. She levels her weapon. Now, you know, she's not shooting at Rex. And neither are the others.
He's a pure strain human, right?
Yep.
I am as well.
That's a miss. That's a miss. That is a miss.
Me too, me too.
The 10 might have hit Gerg that time. Gerg is not that well armored, as I recall. So let's see.
Nothing hits him.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, it's not that good of a die roll, even with that. Well, let's see. Yeah, no, that got him. Yeah, Gerg cries out in pain, and you're like burning fur, and he doubles over, clutching his side. Gerg.
The sound of that Gerg.
All right, give me a D10 roll again for Maddox to figure this thing out.
A 2.
Okay, yeah, you're like, oh, right, safety off, click. So Gerg basically thinks that you
shoot
hard enough. He's like instructing you. He's not bothering to shoot. He is in fact, let's see what we're gonna do this as like a mental attack. What is your mental strength for Maddox?
13.
13. Gerg is much higher, so
he's much lower in other areas, I'm sure.
Well. Okay, so yeah, you just like you would hate to ever have this happen again, but yeah, Gerg basically intrudes deeply into your mind. You never ever want this to happen again. You are thoroughly ooped out by the fact that you just got at range force mind melded by a raccoon.
Yeah, I see dumpsters and trash everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, oh God, all I want to do is eat a Coca-Cola can. But given that and your role, you now know how to use the pistol. You don't know how to reload it. You don't know what optimal ranges or anything, but you understand the point and click interface now.
Great.
Okay. So in the next round, you can attack. What is Rex doing?
He is going to try to shoot that lady again.
All right. What is Milo doing?
Pew.
And Maddox can now pew pew also.
Yeah, I'm going to shoot the same one, the lady.
All right. And Gerg is just going to try and waste the nearest one if somebody wants to roll for Gerg. Roll initiative, please. Doomsword, I don't think... Oh, no, wait, you did. Yang, roll initiative, please.
2.
It's good enough. You guys get first shot.
Wow.
And they are just meters away, so there's not even a range involved here.
All right, so 18.
18 will hit. You hit her. Somewhere in the upper body.
For 17 damage.
Okay, yeah, that melts another hole in her suit. You know, just kind of the front chest piece sort of falls away. And yeah, you see like, the synthetic mesh and stuff like that, where the basically fake skin has burned away, and little bundles of wire and stuff like that. Milo.
Laser rifle again.
All right.
Shoot, that's a 5.
That will not hit. Somebody want to roll for Gerg? He is shooting at one of them just at random.
Uh, 8.
That will miss. And finally, well, let me see here.
Oh, that die sucks.
Oh no, let me see what class is that. No, you got a laser rifle. That actually does hit. The 8 does hit.
That's 6, so 9, 11 plus 21.
Oof, that's a telling
Nice.
blow. That one is kind of something in the leg fuses and it's now slowed, and there's more of that whitish robot blood dripping everywhere. And finally, Maddox.
All righty. Oh, a 20.
Oh, that's a definite hit.
And this thing's 66.
Yes.
Wow. Oh, ends with double sixes. 30.
Okay. You center her on what you think where her heart would be. I mean, that's where you're trained to throw spears against people, and just a punch sound. And she falls to her knees and just kind of mutters, "This is unnecessary. You can be euthanized, painless." Falls on the face.
You are unnecessary.
All right.
Not too bad for a spear checker.
I look at the weapon like Thorgrim looked at the hammer in the Barbarian.
Okay, so there's 3 of them left. You guys want initiative. The 3 will shoot at Rex is now a target. So one of them will shoot at Rex, one of them will shoot at Doomsword, and one of them will shoot at Milo. So Rex will do you first.
We don't get partial cover for hiding behind Rex.
No. That beam just kind of plays across your suit's field a little bit, and there's just like a splash of color, but it doesn't do any damage. Milo, however, nine, 10, 12, 16 points of damage to Milo. And Maddox, you are also hit for
Did that happen?
8, 15, 24 points to Maddox.
You said
Is that all you got?
I'm sorry, I said what?
16?
Yeah, 16 to you.
All right, I'm still good. Ish.
Okay. Next round of combat. Same verse. Next verse, same as the first, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
All right. Milo,
I
roll
like push friggin' Rex into them. We just keep shoving them from behind. Get in the way, get in the way. I got a 5.
Party will go first.
Nice.
All right, so I guess I'll shoot with the laser rifle. That's a 19 to hit.
That will absolutely hit.
Nice. 11, 16, 24.
Wow. And was that the one you shot before?
Probably. Yep.
Okay, yeah. It lets out an electronic scream, which sounds a lot like the cry of distress when you shot or rather when the leader was shot, and it crumples to the floor. There's 2 left. Rex.
All right. Well, I will take a shot at one of the ones that's left. 6.
Will not hit. Maddox.
All right. With my boomstick. I got a 12.
That will hit.
Excellent. That's 19.
Okay, yeah, you burn it pretty good. So there are 2 remaining. One at Rex and one at Maddox. The one that fires at Rex misses. The one that fires at Maddox also misses.
Great.
New round. Yang, roll initiative for us. I know what they're going to do.
All right.
And they will probably do it to you first.
4.
Yes. Okay. So this is at Rex. That is a hit. Your suit's going to take 20 of this. Uh, 16. So 1 point gets through to you.
Wow.
Your suit flickers, and then your suit's shield. There's just a flash of orange energy, and you're getting that overload slowly pulsing on your heads-up display, and you just watch the dotted line that outlines your silhouette of your suit. Just and at Maddox. Or did it? No, I didn't shoot at Maddox this round. So Maddox take ouch. Maddox takes 26 more points.
Bogus.
Okay. New round. Or no, you guys get your return fire. Sorry. Return fire.
Is that Milo?
Rex rolls a 14.
That will hit.
All right. 25.
Nice.
All right. Yeah, you blast away chunks of its suit, chunks of its skin. Not looking good. It's no, because he'd shot that one. Yeah, so Milo?
I'm blasting again at a new target. That's an 11 to hit
That will hit.
for 22.
Okay, between you and Rex, you cut down one of the remaining 2, and Maddox.
All righty.
Wow.
16.
That will hit.
$30.
Wow. Okay. That one too is finished off.
Oh,
Crumples to the deck with the same promise to not hurt you at all.
We're not buying it.
yeah, they go in pieces regardless.
So they're lying in smoldering heaps before you. You are now on the moon. And we will pick up here next week. Hopefully James will be with us and he can
Get us the hell out of here.
Yes. So tune in next week when you'll hear Gerg say Gerg. Maddox says something mad Maddox like to the inhabitants of this place. Rex Dashington make more malpropisms, and Milo will Milo. Thank you everyone for watching tonight. I really appreciate it. Wish me luck. I'm going to be running games for Gods and Monsters tomorrow at Free RPG Day. That's right here in Orlando, 5421 International Drive. Stop on by and say hello. And if you're in the area, I hope to see you then. Have a wonderful
fun.
evening.
You don't need
I will. You guys have a great one. Peace out.